Well, would you look at that? We have spray foam. Yesterday they finished up everything that we asked them to spray foam, and it went pretty well. The walls look great. We had them spray everything in all the walls in the basement, as well as all the band joists as well. That is kind of a tricky area, and there's some outside penetrations for outside outlets and hose fixtures, so they were able to seal around that. And it went well. I'm pleased. I've got my auxiliary lights back up because everything was kind of pulled away from the edges of the walls so they could have easy access. And next they're going to come in and they're actually going to pack some fiberglass in this bay. Packed fiberglass. They're going to shove that bay full of fiberglass. Blown in. I think they're using spider. That's because this wall is the north wall. That doesn't matter, but it's up against a kind of a hill behind it where we drive in. And so we made this concrete 10 inches thick instead of the standard 8 to give it extra support. Doing that and then adding the 2x4 walls spaced an inch off it made just about a 16-inch gap with the floor joists above it. So it basically boxed in that whole first bay on this wall, which makes it nearly impossible to insulate. Realistically, we should have insulated it before they decked it. Didn't catch that. So they're gonna have to drill holes in that and then blow in some fiberglass. So that's what they're doing there. We wouldn't have been able to perforate that big enough in order to have an effective spray foam application, because they'd be spraying it like 16 inches away, and that gets pretty far. It wouldn't adhere good, stick good, apply good, whatever. So they're gonna pack that full of fiberglass, but so the rest of the basement is all spray foamed, Corbond to closed cell foam, as well as all these critical areas up above. So I'm excited about that. In the cold storage room, they did the ceiling. They did the ceiling in the cold storage room, which is the floor of the mudroom. So that will keep this room cold and the mudroom warm. We're gonna leave this bare concrete as a cold sink. And then this wall behind me, that'll be easy to throw some rock wool bats in there. So we'll go ahead and bat that up. But we had them spray this ceiling, which is nice and airtight and super insulated. Coming up to the first floor, we had them do the same thing. We did all the band joists or rim joists. I really should figure out what that's called. All the way around the band. That is now spray foamed. And I also had them do some of these narrow spots like under the windows. And we had them do the corners as well, because we couldn't get the caulking gun in there to air seal nice and tight. So we just had them shoot all the corners, which was like 6 corners. So it wasn't that much extra foam. And then we had them spray some of these narrow spots that, like a place like this, it would have taken many cans of can foam, probably 2 cans in this one cavity, and it would have taken me a while to do that, which would not have been the most fun or best use of my time. And trying to cut and cram rock wool bats in there would also be kind of a pain. So we just had them go with the gun, literally that fast. And it's done, insulated, air sealed, done. In the upstairs rooms, we asked them to spray the sloped ceilings. In order to get the R value there, the trusses weren't quite deep enough to pack it full of bats, and it would have been not good if we packed it full of cellulose, which the rest of the attic will be. It would have been trickier to vent it, and I don't know if it could have properly filled the void. So we had them spray foam in this section, which sealed it nicely. So they were able to shoot all up in here, all the way up to the ceiling. Whoop. Well, that wasn't zoomed out all the way. As you can see. So I'd say that went well. They added, I can't remember, and honestly I can't quite tell by the depth how much they put in here, but they said this depth was enough to pretty much meet the meet the R value that we need. And then I'm also gonna cram a rock wool bat in these bays as well, mostly for sound, as well as a little extra insulation. So they did that over there in the closet. They did it over here in this corner. Same thing, they're identical dimensions, identical layouts. And then in the front room here, same thing on the edges of the dormers. They filled in this one. This corner somehow got boxed in, so I drilled some holes and they were able to shoot in there as well to try to insulate that corner. Looks to me like they did pretty good, but hard to say. It's probably the best way to fill it full insulation apart from framing it differently, but it should work. And then again in this closet over here, we've got, they sprayed as well. So these stacks of roofing sheathing belongs on the porch, which isn't framed yet, but our hope was that we brought them up here via the lift, or I can't remember. They came up here with, they came up here with the tractor forks. We lifted it up there. So they came up here early on with hydraulic power. So we were gonna try to shove them out the window onto the porch as opposed to lugging them down and lugging them back up. We'll see how that goes. So they sprayed in here. We had another boxed corner in the master bedroom closet. So they sprayed and filled those holes. They filled the corner, and then they filled some narrow spots under the windows. So those are some kind of special things that we did to hopefully keep our house nice and air sealed tight and make applying bats easier on us, a little less cutting. Here we are up in the attic, peeking, where they also spray foamed. They added a couple inches in here to boost our R value because we wanted to use this space for storage. However, current energy code says we need to meet like R66 in the attic, which is between 16 and 20 inches of cellulose, which would be like up here, really cutting down on our storage space. I framed this up so we've got a solid foot, but we had them spray the ceiling of the bedroom and bathroom to give us an extra kick in R value, and then they'll top this off with cellulose. And then as you can see, I made insulation dams on the edges, so the edges of the roof can be filled up extra deep so they can get the full R value. And realistically, it's the edges that are going to have the most cold, it's not the right word, cold pressure, rather than the middle of the ceiling. So that's a little tour of the insulation of the spray foam portion. As you can see, it's going to be a combination of approaches to keeping this house warm. Wanted to grab a few shots up here in the attic because it's never going to look like this again. You're not going to see this spray foam. It is going to be buried in shredded newspaper, literally. So I wanted to document that while I can because I don't know when they're coming back. As you could see, the driveway was a little muddy, so access is a little tricky. But spray foaming was really what I wanted them to get in here and do, because now I can do other stuff like install the water supply manifold on the wall that I didn't want to do until they came in and sprayed the basement walls. Same with the guy who's coming to install the furnace. He wants to mount it on the wall, so it was good to have them spray foam the basement wall before they wall mount the furnace. So, attic insulation coming soon. Unfortunately, I won't be able to install all of the exterior walls with Roxol bats until the plumber comes because I don't know which walls he's going to sneak heater pipes up to the second floor. So I can't close up the walls until he comes, and unfortunately he's not scheduling 30 days out. We're looking at April 30th is when we're penciled in for that. So a little bit of a, not necessarily a delay, but it's shifting my schedule around and changing my priorities because I'd love to get insulated. That's the fun part. That's like the next big task. But there are a lot of littler things, little framing things that I need to finish up in the kitchen, and as well as running all the water supply lines, which realistically, all that is probably gonna take me a couple weeks anyways. So I feel like it's pushing me back. I don't think it is. There's enough to keep me busy between now and then, that's for sure. Anyways, that's all for this vlog. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying these updates. Until next time, we'll catch you later.